Secure Money. I'm Rebecca Powers. So happy to be with you again, Pittsburgh. And this is, of course, Brian Quaranta of Secure Money Advisors. We have so many viewers now, and you even have some fans. You've given out hundreds of copies of your book.
Yes.
And compliance said I'm not allowed to give this to you, but I have a bottle of champagne for you because it is our 100th show.
Yes, all right. That's a big deal. Good job. Yes.
Good job, you. I mean, think of the thousands of people, even if they don't come to you or whatever. Just think of the education that you've been able to give them.
We feel we're making an impact.
You are.
You see it. You see it here and there that you're making an impact. You know, I never thought that I would go to the grocery store and someone recognize me. It was kind of weird, but you know what? It honestly is something that I'm so passionate about. You know this, right?
Yeah, you love it.
To be able to educate people every single week is the most important thing to me, because that's all I've ever wanted for people is just let's give them good advice. Let's give them good basic fundamentals to follow. And people are smart enough to make good decisions.
I feel like it's, for so many of us, it's Greek. You know, it's like, oh, I'm embarrassed. I don't really understand it. I didn't save like I should have, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. I think the biggest thing I want everyone, and you're so good at making people understand, there's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Nothing.
We weren't taught this. You have brain surgeons that are, you know, don't even know what compounding interest even means. I mean, so let's talk about how people have been kind of in our society.
Well, you know, you've got a lot of different types of people that we see, right? You've got those that have been so focused on their work, they don't know what they have.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Their head has been down, they've been grinding day after day after day, and now they're getting to the point where they're going, if I want any chance of retiring, I've got to figure out what to do and how to do all this. And so coming to us is just a way for them to get organized and actually take all the pieces of the puzzle and actually put them together. So you actually have a picture, right? I mean, my grandmother used to do like 1,000-piece puzzles, and it would always amaze me because it would be spread out on a table. But then in a few days, this whole picture came together, and I'm like, how did she know, like, how to find all these little pieces? Because I was not good at it, but I am good at taking all the pieces of the puzzle, the financial situation, and putting them together to create that picture. And I think once people see that picture, they really start to get encouraged that, wow, this is possible. Because we'll hear a lot. People will come in and they'll say, I don't think we're going to be able to retire. You know, I'm going to have to work another 5 years. And when we get all the pieces of the puzzle put together and we start to map out the plan, I can confidently look at them based on some small changes that we can get you retired right now. And when I show them mathematically how that would work, and I show them the very little bit amount of risk that they would have to take and the very limited amount of interest they would need, it's a really emotional meeting, because for the first time, they're seeing what they achieved, not even knowing what they achieved.
Awesome.
You know, and then you have those that come in that, you know, have been on top of it for, you know, their entire career, right? They pay attention to their investments. They like paying attention to their investments. And so you got two different extremes, right? But you got more people that don't know than that do know. The people that do know, that's a very rare. It's a very small group of people. It's a very small group of people.
And for the last 13 years, the market's been going up. We've had such a bull market. It's been easy to make money. But right now is a whole new world. Stocks are down, bonds are down. This is the time more than ever in our lives that we need to really focus on this. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, look, you got the worst bond market in 40 plus years. So since the early 80s, we've never seen a bond market like this.
Oh, wow.
Nobody's talking about it and nobody's mentioned it, but I think this is going to wind up being worse than 2007, 2008. You're already seeing the housing market starting to collapse because of the high interest rates. I mean, there was a news piece on the other night where they had showed last year versus this year. Open house, cars down the street, line out the door, right? Bring your best offer. Don't even come in. Just bring your best offer, right? We're not going to talk to you. Now, not even a person there, right? Because people are concerned about paying 6-7% in home mortgage rates when they were used to paying 2 or 3%. So it is absolutely changed drastically. Inflation through the roof. I mean, there are major economic variables here that are lining up to be the perfect storm. And if you don't have a plan, or if your plan is to put your head in the sand, you better think twice before you do that, because this is not a time to say, I'm not looking at my statements. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to ignore it all. This is not the time to ignore. This is the time to take action and make the changes that you need to make so you don't get hurt. You know, people tend to forget the pain of 2007, 2008 because it's been so long ago.
Yeah.
But that will happen again. And you better be prepared, if it does, to not put yourself in a position to be hurt again. You know, and the best advice that I can give people is make sure that you're doing the right things. Go in, see your advisors right now, ask them the hard questions. If you're walking out of your advisor's office and you have that gut feeling that maybe you're not getting the right advice, that's when you want to go seek other advice from someplace else.
Amen.
That happened to me. I remember when I was dealing with a tax accountant. And this tax accountant, by the way, she was my college professor. I thought I was never going to need another tax accountant again because who's smarter? There's nobody smarter than my college professor who does accounting, right?
Yeah.
But as my company grew, every time I would go in, I just started getting this little bit of a feeling that maybe I wasn't getting the best advice because I started bringing ideas to the table. I started asking questions where she would go, "Oh, well, yes, we can do that." Okay, well, if we could, why didn't
you think of that?
Why didn't you think of that? Because I'm paying you as a professional.
Right.
And I had to make that hard decision to leave. Right? And it was a very difficult decision to make because you like people, right? So you don't want to break relationships, but this is about people's future. This is not about relationships. It's about their future, and you want to get it right.
And if you haven't had these conversations, if they haven't proactively called you, that should be the first red flag.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a financial planner, you're a fiduciary, and everyone in your office is. Let's talk about the difference. I know you're a very humble guy, but there's a big difference. Just like there's a difference between a CPA that does last year's taxes and a tax planner that does the rest of your life. There's a difference between a financial advisor and a fiduciary.
Yeah, and you're seeing even the accounting world change to where they're providing, most accountants want to get away from the CPA model, right? Where all they're doing is looking at the history, filing a tax return, and charging a couple $100s for it.
Right.
They're saying, you know what, let H&R Block do that.
Right.
I didn't get my CPA designation to just put together a tax return and be paid a couple $100. I got my CPA designation to help people avoid paying taxes. So let's do that. Let's build a new model that gives them advice on a year-to-year basis. Now, they're going to charge on a monthly basis to do that, but I know a lot of people would rather be charged on a monthly basis a little bit of money to avoid taxes rather than coming to find out just once a year that I owe all this taxes because all we're doing is looking at the history and not looking at the future and doing planning, right? And so a fiduciary has your best interest in mind. By law, we've got to do what's in your best interest.
Exactly.
We're not beholden to any specific company. We're not beholden to any big box store, right? Or firm, I should say.
Yeah.
We are beholden to our clients, and that's it. So at the end of the day, as you've always said so poetically, everybody's like a snowflake, right? They all got their little shapes, sizes, and prints.
Everyone's
and we've got to understand each individual person's situation to customize a plan that makes sense for them. And as a fiduciary, not having a specific menu of products that we have to choose from, we can now listen to the client and then go out to the marketplace and find the very best strategies, the very best products that are going to solve the problems and concerns that they have with their specific situation.
All right, so the Right Track Retirement Review, it is absolutely complimentary. Brian just wants to meet you, maybe look at what you have. You may be perfect and he'll say you're great, but there's the number 888-382-1298. What can they expect when they first come to your office, Brian?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the Right Track Retirement Review was designed because so many people would come in and ask, are we on the right track? Are we doing the right things? Does our retirement plan even look good? And what I realized was most people do not know the fundamentals that make up a retirement plan. So number one is your income. Number two is your tax strategy. Three is your investment strategy. 4 is your healthcare strategy, and 5 is your estate planning strategy. Folks, if you have those 5 key areas handled, every I dotted, every T crossed, you are going to have a great retirement. Most people have a pile of statements. They have investments that are diversified. That's not a retirement plan. That's an investment strategy. I talk about the difference between an investment strategy and a retirement strategy in my book, which, by the way, I'm going to give you when you call today to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, Right Track Retirement Review. So pick up the phone, call us today to schedule that. It's 1-888-382-1298. My team's standing by to get you scheduled, and we'll also send you a copy of my book, Right Track Your Retirement.
And Brian will even pay for the postage, so there really is no sales pitch whatsoever. There's the QR code. If you'd rather not dial those numbers, just aim your phone camera to that and have your calendar ready. We're going to get you an appointment to come in and meet Brian and his amazing team. More right after this.
See, everybody can tell you how to invest your money. There's not a lot of people out there and a lot of firms that can teach you how to use your money. Most people will also tell you that they're scared And the reason they're scared is because they're afraid of running out of money.
The last thing you want to do is have a really good job into your 60s, retire, and be looking for work again in your late 70s.
The average person might say, well, a good portfolio would be a good mix of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. No, 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 no. A good portfolio is all designed around the 5 key areas: income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning.
We're not just product pickers here. What we do best here is we build retirement plans.
9 out of 10 people, when they walk through the door, would ask us, we just want to know if we're on the right track. And I always say, if you're not on the right track, when would be a good time to know it? Probably now.
People, can actually see a vision once we start to really build out their plan.
This is about you. If you're not getting what you need, and you feel that when you walk out of the advisor's office, it's time to get a second opinion. And you can't get a second opinion from the person that gave you the first opinion. The difference at Secure Money Advisors, as a fiduciary firm, we help you manage the risk, build the income, and give you the retirement you dreamed of.
And welcome back to our 100th episode, which we're very, very proud of. And Brian, of course, has guided thousands of people, not only as clients, but you at home watching. How to keep your money. You just said the word risk in that little spot we just aired. So let's talk about risk. I know we talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
But considering they say inflation's at 9%, but when you go to the grocery store, you know that it feels more like 30.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do people sleep at night? I'm talking to the 70-year-old lady right now sitting at home going, I'm so scared. You don't need to be.
Yeah.
There is a way to have zero risk. Let's talk about that.
There is, and for a lot of people, they just don't know about the ways to have zero risk.
Yeah.
And some people get heartburn when they hear about the ways to have zero risk. So there's a few ways. Number one, you could go to the bank. If you go to the bank, you're going to get a checking, savings, money market, or a bank CD. All right. Here's the problem, though. If we got inflation over 9%, checking account pays no interest at all. Savings account pays no interest. Money market pays no interest. And a CD, what are they going to give us, 2%?
Yeah.
So that's
nothing.
not a whole lot either.
Yeah.
So even at a 2% rate of return, at a 9% inflation rate, we're losing money, right?
Yeah.
So where else can we go for safe money? Well, we could go to an I bond, right? The only problem is if I buy an I bond, right, through the United States Treasury, at the time we're recording this show, it was 9.6%. It's supposed to go down to about 6.5. So who knows where it's going to be once this show airs.
Okay.
But it's a safe place. But you can only put $10,000 a year in. So that's not going to help a whole lot of people with their retirement money, right? So then you can buy annuities. Now, this is where people get a little bit of heartburn because they don't understand this marketplace. But it is a very powerful product to understand because there are something that an annuity can do that no other financial product can do, and that's guarantee and protect your principal and provide you with income. Now, there's about 4 different annuities. There's fixed, there's indexed, there's variable, and there's immediate. Now, I like 2 of them. I like fixed and I like indexed because they do something very important. They guarantee and protect your principal. That's right, zero risk, but I can still earn interest. So a fixed annuity, I can earn anywhere from 4.5% to 5% guaranteed. I can have access to my money if I need it, and I can take all my money out, and if I die, all the money goes to my children. Or I can do an indexed annuity, right? An indexed annuity allows me to actually participate in the growth of the market, but not participate in the losses. Now, usually when I say that, people will say, well, that's too good to be true.
Right.
No, it's not. Once you understand how it works, it's not too good to be true. They only let you have some of the gains. So let's suppose the market went up 10%. They're going to say, you know what, we're going to give you 50% of the gain. So that means you're going to get 5% out of the 10%. Okay. But let's say you have $100,000 and now your $100,000 is going to go to $105,000. That becomes your new guaranteed balance. It can never be taken away. So if next year the market falls by 30%, you're still going to have $105,000. Whereas the person that's in the market is going to have like 80-something thousand.
Exactly.
Right? So protecting some of your money in a place that you can earn a reasonable rate of return, where you have no loss of principal, is where you need to have some of your money, especially if you're going to need to generate monthly income. If you need a monthly paycheck, this is some of the best places you can do it. Now, whatever that number is, you can still have money in the market, but that money you have in the market better be long-term money. 10, 15, 20-year money that you don't touch. So if the market's going up and down, you better not be touching it. It's got to sit there because time is your friend when it comes to having money in the market, right? What do they always tell us?
Compounding.
Don't touch it.
Right.
Right? Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Well, how are you going to leave it alone if you're in retirement and need money right now to live off of?
Right.
You have to have other buckets with other purposes. This is why I write about it in the Right Track Retirement book, our bucketing strategy, so that you can still have money in the market, but if it drops 30%, you're not panicked that you might have to delay retirement or come out of retirement. We
Right.
don't ever want to see that happen to somebody.
Absolutely. I think when a lot of people walk into your office, I love the holistic approach, obviously. How many people don't have a plan? You say plan.
Yeah.
How many people don't have a plan?
I bet you about 85% of the people that walk through the door do not have a plan.
That is mind-blowing.
Yes,
I mean,
correct.
I was one of those people till I met you,
Yeah.
so I get it. But
Yep.
how damaging and scary is that to know that about 85%, you could say your common man, does not even have a plan to retirement? How in the world can you expect to get there, I guess?
Yeah, well, imagine, I mean, imagine just taking money out of your account blindly, like, and not knowing what rate of return you need or how the withdrawals are going to impact the balance and whether you're going to have money or not have money later on in
Right.
retirement.
Especially when you're 85 and you're really at the mercy of
Your health.
your
because-
health, your children, you're not working anymore.
Right, and if you run out of money at 85, it's not like you're going to have the physical capability of going back to work.
Right.
Right? So having a plan is the most important thing. And I always say, a plan should be written up no different than if you were running a business. Your retirement needs to be run like a
I
business.
like that.
It's money out and money in. So think about it. If you were running an ice cream shop or a restaurant or a retail shop, would you not pay attention to what money's going in and out every single day or what returns you need to stay profitable? You would be looking at all of that
course.
all the time. People stick their head in the sand. They procrastinate. They don't pay attention to this stuff. They think it's just going to magically work.
Right.
And the more clarity you get about what your plan actually needs to do, the rate of returns that it needs, the safe withdrawal rates that you can take, the ways to avoid taxation, when you start to map all that
a big
out,
one.
especially when you start to map it out with a firm like Secure Money Advisors, where we make it so simple and easy to understand, you want to know what it does? It empowers you.
Absolutely.
It gives you confidence. That clarity gives you confidence. And when you have confidence and clarity, you want to know what you are in retirement? Calm.
Yes.
And that is probably the best thing you can give yourself is peace of mind and calmness in retirement, because who wants to be panicked when the market's going through absolute pandemonium?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be panicked. They want to be, traveling. They want to be spending time with their grandkids. They don't want to be worried that they just lost 40% of their money in the market and they may not be able to stay retired. Who wants that stress? You
Absolutely.
just left 40 years of stress.
Exactly.
To go back into a stressful environment. But this is why I put together the Right Track system, because I don't want you to have that stress. I want you to have the peace of mind and security. And it's something that I'm very passionate about showing people how to do. It's a very simple and easy to understand process, but you've got to do your part. You got to pick up the phone and you've got to come in so we can help bring you through that Right Track retirement review. And it's going to help you get a lot of clarity and peace of mind around what you're currently doing. So I want you to pick up the phone, call us today. It's 1-888-382-1298, and schedule your Right Track retirement review today.
And we'll be right back more on how you can keep your money secure. It is possible.
If I could help you increase your income, if I could help you pay less taxes, if I could help you potentially maximize the returns of your investments while reducing risk, reducing fees, if I could help you prepare for a health event, or more importantly, when the good Lord decides to take you home, to make sure that the money you've accumulated over your lifetime goes to your family and to your charities rather than the IRS, would that be worth the time to come in and get a second opinion?
All right, welcome back. I'm Rebecca Powers here with Brian Quaranta of Secure Money Advisors. We were talking about all these different tools. Your money has to work for you. You have to tell each one what job it's going to do. Health, longevity. We're all living longer. They're saying it's bad because we're all living longer.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of plan for a health event?
Yeah, well, a health event has to be planned for. The problem is you don't know when the health event's going to take place.
Okay.
But the statistics out there are that 1 in 3 of us are going to get dementia. Think about it. How many
Wow.
people are in this room? 9 of us? I mean,
That's
somebody's
scary.
getting dementia in here.
Right. And of course, cancer rates in the U.S. are so high.
Yes, it's somewhere 1 in 2 will need some type of care.
Yeah.
Right. So 50% of us, that's either me or you.
Right. So you got to plan.
One of us is going to need it.
I vote for it's you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. That wasn't even funny.
But my educational
But,
events,
yes.
at my educational events, if husband and wife were there, I said, you guys can look at each other and decide who it's going to be.
Who do the kids like more?
Yeah. But that has to be planned for because,
Yeah.
look, in the state of Pennsylvania, you're over $10,000 a month for long-term care for a facility.
Yikes.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Medicare does not pay for that, right? Medicare does not pay for that. Here's the really kind of bad thing about our health system.
Yeah.
If I have a guy that comes in here right now and drops dead of a heart attack,
Yeah.
okay, he needs to have heart surgery, put a stent in, all this kind of stuff, Medicare will pay for everything. No
Okay.
matter how long he's in the hospital.
Okay.
I get somebody that falls down of a stroke, right? Medicare is going to pay maybe 90 days, and then you're on your own.
Wow.
You see? So it really is, what health event are you going to have? If you have a heart attack, you're fine. If you have a
Wow.
stroke, you're in a different situation. So this is the problem with our system, right? It does not take care of everybody for everything. So if you have a stroke and you need care now, and you go beyond those 90 days when Medicare's not going to pay, how are you going to pay?
And it falls in
for
your
care?
family. Yeah, and it falls in your family too.
It does. And in the state of Pennsylvania, we have what we call the Estate Recovery Act, where the state of Pennsylvania literally, when you die, could go after your children to recover money that was spent on your care. Right? And this is why we work with a great elder law partner that helps teach our clients about this. We have classes every single month at our office where we bring folks in and we teach them about all of these things that they need to be concerned about so that we can put the very best plan together for them. Because everybody's health care strategy is different. You know, some people have the money to go afford long-term care insurance, but it's very expensive. And not everybody qualifies for it, right? Because a lot of people don't start thinking about long-term care insurance until they're 55 or older. Well, usually by that time, they might have some type of medical issue. So the question is, can you even get qualified to get it? And if you do get qualified, how much is it going to cost?
Right, it'll be too expensive.
I mean, you see, long-term care insurance at $5,000-$6,000 a month. Now that's
Yikes.
hard. Or not a month, a year, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, who can afford that will give you a heart attack.
But that in itself, right? I mean, that in itself, a lot of people aren't going to want to pay that, right? So we have to look at these situations, though, because if you have a health event very early on in retirement, that's more of a problem than if you have a health event 25 years into retirement, right? It's almost like, it's the same thing. If you're a married couple, it's a lot worse if your spouse dies early in retirement versus later in retirement. Why? Because if your spouse dies earlier in retirement, you're living off less income, right? We know with Social Security, they're going to take away the lowest check. And according to AARP, the average loss of income for a married couple is 40% at death. Imagine taking a 40% hit very early on in retirement.
And you have about the same bills. You have the same house, the same car, so it's devastating.
And people think, well, it's just going to be me now, so we're going to have one less car, we're going to have, less insurance, so we're going to have less expenses. Let me tell you something. Not going to work that way, because here's the one thing people don't think about.
What?
You are now a single tax filer.
Oh, that's worse.
Have you ever looked at single tax rates versus married tax rates? They are much higher. And so now you got to pay the IRS more money for being widowed.
I do not like this IRS. The more we talk about this IRS person, I do not like this.
Right, I know. But this is why planning is so important.
It really is.
And this is why I've created the 5 key areas.
Yeah.
It's a checklist, right? So you got to be able to look at your income strategy and go, okay, have I done everything I possibly could do here to maximize everything that's available right now to get the very best from my income, right? And one thing you and I always talk about is, it always amazes me of how many people will go out there and insure their home, they'll insure their car, they'll insure their health, their jewelry, but they don't insure their income.
Yeah.
That's unfathomable to me.
But again, we go back to the public school system and just the way our society is. We used to have pensions that went away in '78. We never adapted. It's never been taught in school, so it is certainly not our fault.
And it's the fault of my industry, because my industry thinks it's okay to take risk with 100% of your money, even when you need income.
But
So-
it does benefit them to keep us in the dark, let's be honest.
Well, it does. They could charge fees on that money, right? They can charge
Right.
fees, but you better hope the market cooperates 100% of the time, and we know it doesn't. So if it doesn't cooperate, this could be impacted. The income could be impacted. Your tax strategy, that's important.
So
Why do we
important.
want to pay more taxes than we have to? Why do we want to leave Uncle Sam or the IRS as part of our estate plan? We can get them out of the picture right now through good
Yes.
planning. The investment strategy. People try to continue to do the same things that they were doing while they were working, the same investment strategy, the same diversification. They try to do that same stuff when they retire, and it's not the same. The strategies, the techniques, the investment strategies, they change once you get to your retirement years. But the big box firms don't want you to change. They keep you doing the same thing over and over. And all they do is keep telling you the same cookie cutter phrases. Don't worry about it. Hang in there. You're in it for the long haul. It's just a paper loss. I can go on and on and on, right?
Yeah.
Your fourth thing is your health event, right? Because the health event, that can really impact you big time. And the tough thing about a health event is this. If you go in and you have a health event and you're in there for, let's say, a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then you get better, that's actually a really bad thing.
Because then you're broke.
You're broke. So now
Yeah.
you're coming out, you're healthier, but now you might not have any money or you'll have very little money left. So
Right.
you better have a plan to protect that. And that's where estate planning can come in. That's
Yeah.
where good elder law protection strategies can come in. And then, of course, the estate plan itself. And in Pennsylvania, folks, you better be on top of your game on this one because we're like one of 6 states that still has an inheritance tax to deal with. And it can be anywhere from 4 all the way up to 15% in additional taxation above and beyond what you're going to pay in income taxes or federal estate taxes, depending on what level of assets you have. So the state of Pennsylvania is always going to be part of your estate, but there are ways to eliminate some of these things that you might deal with through a good estate planning strategy. And this is why I created the Right Track system so that you can get the information you need to make good informed decisions. So call us today, get a complimentary, no obligation Right Track retirement review where we'll go over all these 5 areas. We'll show you what a real planning strategy looks like. We're going to sit down for 45 minutes to an hour. There's no sales pitch. There's no pressure. If you're doing the right things, we'll let you know you're doing the right things. But if you weren't on the right track, if you weren't making the right decisions, if you didn't have the right strategies in the right areas, wouldn't it be great for you to know that now? Call 1-888-382-1298 and schedule your complimentary Right Track retirement review today.
Absolutely. It is a holistic approach because every single one of you is different. Thanks for joining us so much for our 100th show, and we'll see you again next week. Hope you learned a lot today.